People used to tell me all the time, you need to love yourself, but they never really went any further. And for someone who struggled to belong, all I heard was, you should love yourself, because I really don't. Years later, through counseling, I finally understood what those words actually meant. You don't attract love by chasing it. You attract it by accepting yourself first. But no one teaches you how to accept yourself, especially when you've spent a lifetime feeling unwanted or unloved. So when Christ became my foundation and I began inner child healing along with EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, things started to change. Doors opened that needed to be opened, doors closed that no longer needed access to my life. And through that process, I learned my worth. I learned how to care for myself. And for the first time, I truly began to see my own value. I grew up believing something about myself that simply wasn't true. And the things I did, the people I allowed into my life, and the things I neglected, all reflected that belief. That's where it all starts. And that belief didn't come from nowhere. It came from a very young age. I was emotionally and mentally abused, and that abuse followed me into adulthood. It was so consistent that over time I began to believe it myself. I didn't have someone back then who could help me sort through those feelings, and I hate to admit it, but it wasn't because people didn't care. It was because I was a child and I didn't know what to ask. Children don't have the language for emotional and mental abuse. They don't think this is harming my identity or this is causing depression. They think that hurt, or I feel embarrassed, or something feels wrong, but I don't know why. And when those feelings aren't explained or protected, a child doesn't reject them. They absorb them. So over time, the words spoken to you became the words spoken about you. And eventually, they became the words spoken by you to yourself. That's how emotional abuse snowballs. Not because a child is weak, but because a child is still forming who they believe they are. The hardest part wasn't what happened to me. It was what I learned to believe about myself. And understanding that changed everything.